Alright, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Dorian mode. This is just a get it under your fingers kind of lesson. If you've been through my lessons, you've kind of noticed that I tend to do one really boring lesson on where the scale is, and then after that we do applications of it. This is the really boring lesson on the Dorian mode. If you haven't done my primer lesson on mode, you probably want to go back and do that. Doing the major scale lessons doesn't hurt before this. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to construct your Dorian mode. Now, with all of these modes, they're all derived from the major scale. And with any of the diatonic scales or modes, we have two half steps in there. When you do a major scale, the half steps are between the third and fourth notes, and the seventh note, and the octave or the eighth note. With the Dorian mode, the half steps are between the second and third notes, and the sixth and seventh notes. So we're going to have, starting on the root, we're going to be in the key of A. We're going to have whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, and then whole step back to the root. So A Dorian, we're on the 6th string, 5th fret. You're going to have A, B, which is the 7th fret, C is the 8th fret. On the 5th string, we'll have D, which is the 5th fret, 7th fret up to E, 4th fret, which is the F sharp, half step to G. These are on the 4th string, 4th and 5th frets, and then your octave is the 7th fret on the 4th string. Then continuing up in that position, 4th fret on the 3rd string, 5th fret on the 3rd string, 7th fret on the 3rd string, and then 5, 7, 8 on the 2nd string, 5, 7, 8 on the 1st string. Now, one of the things about any of these modes or scales is that they're almost like colors or spices. They're the things that we can use to get some different sounds out of the same tonalities. Like if I'm playing over a minor chord, I can play a straight minor scale. It's a minor scale. Now if I want to play a Dorian over the same chord, alright, basically the difference between a minor scale and a Dorian scale is that the 6th note is up a half step. Alright, suddenly we're getting a different sound out of it. We're going to go into, once we go through all of the modes that we're going to do, we're actually going to just talk about playing modally or taking one chord and seeing what all of these modes are going to sound like against it. That's actually subject for another lesson. But I will use these scales interchangeably over a chord if the chord is real static and it's just kind of sitting there. Alright, so that's actually root pattern number 4. I'm going to back up one, root pattern number 3 from our cage system. 5th fret, same root that we started on back here, but we're backing up one. And we're going to go whole step to the 2nd fret, half step to the 3rd fret, 5th fret, those are all on the 5th string, and then the 4th string, 2nd, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 2nd, 4th, 5th, the 2nd string, 3rd, and 5th, and then the 1st string, 2, 3, 5. So we got that's A Dorian in the 2nd position, which is also the 3rd root pattern. Alright, so we've got that one, we've got the 4th one. The reason why I started with the 4th one is because most of you who have started playing any kind of like rock or blues lead guitar probably learned this minor pentatonic or the blues scale first, and that Dorian mode in that 4th position fits right over that minor pentatonic. So if you're used to playing licks like alright, then you can also add these notes more, almost like the whole Santana vibe out of it. We'll talk more about that later, but that's the reason why I started there and backed up. The next root pattern, which will be pattern 5, which is, if you're doing the cage system, it'd be out of the D shape. We're still in the key of A. We're actually, the lowest root in this pattern is the 4th string, 7th fret here. So we're going on that 4th string, 7, 9, 10. On the 3rd string, 7 and 9. And then on the 2nd string, 7, 8, 10. 1st string, 7, 8, and 10. Going back down to that root, let's get the notes below it, which would be 10, 9, 7, then 10, 8, 7. Now, whenever, you've probably, if you've done all the rest of my lessons, heard me say this before, whenever you practice scales, especially when we're isolating modes, you want to try and make sure that you're starting and ending on a root. The reason for that is it gets the sound of the scale fixed in your head. If I was to take this scale pattern, it sounds kind of Dorian-like, but if I was to start here, start and end on the G, it'll sound major, just because that's the arrangement of notes in our starting and ending point are the places that we give the most weight, are going to determine the tonality of that collection of notes. So even though the root is here, we're still going to try and make sure we learn the notes below it and then return to the root. Next position is actually root pattern number 1, or C out of the cage system. We're going to start on our 4th finger on the 12th fret, 5th string. And then you've got 9, 10, and 12 on the 4th string. 9, 11, and 12 on the 3rd string. We're going to move up a position. 10, 12, and 13 on the 2nd string. And then 10 and 12 on the 1st string. And then going back from the root on the 12th fret, we're going to go 10, 9 on that 5th string, and then 12 and 10 on the 6th string. So going up, and then coming back down to get all the notes below the root, and then returning to the root right there. Okay, the last pattern that we need to do, this is pattern 2. Same root, 5th string, 12th fret. We're going 1, 12th fret, 14th fret, 15th fret, 12th and 14th on the 4th string, 11, 12, and 14 on the 3rd string. And then we move up 12, 13, 15 on the 2nd string, 12, 14, and 15 on the 1st string. And then doing the going back down to the root, we're also going to have 15, 14, and 12 on here. Now obviously this would be a lot easier if you went to my website, markweinguitarlessons.com, and just printed out all of these. But sometimes it's also easier to kind of see somebody work their way through it hand-wise. If I'm playing this scale, so that's the Dorian mode construction. Remember that the formula of whole steps and half steps goes whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, and then whole step back to the root. Next lesson, we're actually going to see how we can get the sound of the Dorian mode out of this collection of notes. Just knowing a scale fingering doesn't mean you're actually playing a mode. A mode to me is really a sound. And these fingerings can give you any one of 7 different sounds, and that's what each of the modes are. The way we're learning these, we're actually going through them, just finding where to put your fingers to start with, and then we're going to work on the differences that actually get you the tones we want.